Tim Henry, and I've been teaching online and hybrid courses for about 12 years now. Being an IT person, my background kind of led me to wanting to use the technology as much as possible. Two things I really want to focus on during this talk is the idea of a flipped classroom and a student-centered website. And I'm going to start off by talking about the flipped classroom first. You probably have heard about it in the news or read a little bit about it. It's not really much different than a hybrid course. What we talk about around the university is a hybrid course. The main difference is that all the concepts are presented online. The passive learning happens online, and then in the classroom you have active learning. What this allows is the instructors are going to be able to guide the learning of the students, and allows a whole lot more time for instructor-student interaction as you're going forward. What I really like about it is it gives me a whole multitude of different ways to present information to the different students. When we put the concepts online, there's three areas. Passive learning is the first one that I like to put online. This is your traditional lecture, and when people talk about the flipped classroom, this is what their main focus is. Okay, we've got to get the lecture online. Get it out of the classroom. They say, okay, instead of a sage on the stage, we're going to have a guide at your side. That kind of limits the power of what you get out of a flipped classroom. Now, I'm not going to go into specific tools to do all this. There's like 50 tables out there that can go into a lot of details for you, and I only got 15 minutes. So I'm going to just kind of present a framework for all of this. And so you put the passive learning, like video lectures, online. Keep them about 10 minutes, no more, because students will kind of lose it. Audio goes online. You have reading, such as textbooks, papers that you put up there, what you would normally put online for an online course or for any course. All that goes online also. Then, in addition to the passive learning, you can have individual active learning online also. So you've got interactive simulations, Flash, Java applets, whatever you use, sometimes in the classroom or can find online, you can make as part of the online portion of your hybrid course. You can have questionnaires online, sort of ungraded quizzes, or to find out information about how the students understood the passive learning. And then you can continue to have homework challenges. What you would normally place, maybe pass out in the classroom, you can have available online for the students to begin work there. I actually like doing that because if my students can start their labs and their projects online or at home, then when they come into the classroom, they've already kind of gotten acclimated to what the assignment's going to be, and they have questions ready for me, which I'll talk about here in a minute. The third area, you've got passive learning online, individual active learning. You also have group learning that you can do online as part of your hybrid course. This allows discussion. There's collaborative note-taking tools like NB from MIT, and there's a couple that are out there on some of the tables as you go around that you can find. Students can all take notes on the same document, using Google Docs even. And then they can share that information. You have online discussion forums. You can actually have peer tutoring online and working on projects online. So all of these are tools that you have available to you in this hybrid or flipped classroom paradigm. You have the main thing to think about, though, is that you want to remove the lecture from the classroom. Put it online, because when you're lecturing anyway, the students are going to be doing other things. They're not 100% focused on you when they watch it. I'm just being pragmatic. So when you come to the classroom, you've got to think, okay, did they do their online activities? Right? If they had active learning activities, such as group activities or the individual active learning, they're going to be artifacts, assignments, papers, different things that you can look at. But for the passive learning, you don't have that. So how do you know they did the passive learning? What you can do is have a short questionnaire, say after a video or such, and ask the questions, maybe like a quiz question or an ungraded question on what the video was they just saw, something they should be able to do after watching the video. And then two other important questions. One is, what did you think was the most important thing you learned? And then, what's one question you still have? After they watch the video, if they can answer those two questions, it helps guide you, the instructor, into what you can do during the class time. Right? So you take that information and you can use that to plan the activities that you have in your classroom. Right? I'll come back to those two questions in a second. whenever I have classroom activities, one of the things that I've done before is each group will watch maybe a different video or study a different topic. And whenever the whole class comes together, you can have one group send its students to each of the other groups teaching what they learned online. And then when that's done, you have group B send its student to each of the other groups to teach what they learned online. And then all the students don't have to watch the same set of videos. You can have each group watch one set of videos, then the students have to teach one another the topics. This cuts down the video watching they need to do, also helps the students understand better the topics because they're having to go and do the teaching. Right, you can continue the activities that are online. Again, this is what I really like to do with my labs, is get the students starting to work online maybe a day or two beforehand. Then when they come into the classroom, we can really focus on the issues and the challenges that they're having doing, say, a programming assignment. You know, an hour class time or an hour 45-minute lab time isn't really enough to do an interesting problem in computer science. So having them start to work outside of class and then continue it after class really gives us the opportunity to do larger assignments and teach the subject a little bit deeper. Okay, and based on those two questions earlier, if I need to, I can do a little bit of a cleanup lecture in the classroom. So it doesn't forbid teaching in the classroom. It just means you don't have to spend that time teaching in the classroom. So if there's some questions that students all had or some common theme I see based on the results of the questionnaire, I can guide what the students, I can guide what I do in class. For example, I asked all students maybe to complete the questionnaire by midnight the night before, so that morning when I come into class, I can have read through the responses and say, okay, I need to focus a little bit of time on this subject to clear it up, or I can go into more detail. Maybe the online lectures were introductory, and I can spend maybe 10 minutes going into deep detail to target the difficult concepts. One of the other things I really like about it is it gives me time for formative assessments. I can walk around the classroom now and see how students solve problems. If students are at home doing their homework, all I see is the end result. I don't know how they went through that, where they ran into bumps along the way. But if they're doing the work in the classroom, I can actually see that and then help them through it, and it also helps me teach it better the next time because I know where students are, exactly where students are running into problems. It gives students the opportunity to learn from one another because they're presenting to each other the concepts. Also, because you're not up there talking the whole time, it gives the students time to work together in groups or in pairs, however you decide to have the group work or the students work during the class time. Students can help each other. Peer learning is a great way for the students to learn, let's just say. But through all of this, I only have 9 minutes. You're going by the time on the clock, not when I started. Okay? Okay. I'm being very careful.
You didn't give us a flip class to start.
I'm almost halfway done, so I'm right on schedule. So you need clear expectations for the student. One, this is different. Two, if it's an online class or most of your work is online, you're not interacting and communicating with students like you normally do. So you need to really make those expectations clear, and that's where the idea of a student-centered website is going to come in. Now, a student-centered website, take a second and think about sites like Facebook, Amazon.com, YouTube, Twitter. You've got Gmail, things like Walmart.com. You don't need a 15-minute introductory video to know how to use those websites. Why should you need a 15-minute video in how to use your course site? Right? So we need to look at how can we make our website be friendly to students so they don't get frustrated by just coming to the site. You know, if a site is poorly designed, students are going to be confused about the expectations you have, what the assignments are, and really importantly, how this all fits together. Okay, which is really important. If they're spending most of the time fighting, looking for material, they're going to lose time, they're not going to understand how it fits together, they're just going to be completely frustrated. So the idea is to make it smooth sailing for students, reduce the number of clicks that they have to go through. There are 4 big ideas that or concepts I think students come to websites with. Feedback I've gotten from students confirms this, so the students here can tell me whether it's right. What do I need to do? When do I need to do it? How can I do it, and where can I get help? Okay, those 4 things are what websites should communicate to students right up front. Right? The typical Sakai website cannot do that. So you have your tools here on the left, site information, recent announcements, calendar, and messages. That's your typical home page. Terrible, don't use it. All right, what do I need to do? That doesn't tell me anything. This site info is static. After 10 weeks, why do I keep needing to read that same thing? All right, you want the announcements. Most websites I've looked at just have the bullets, so students need to click on it to get the announcements. Tools, what do I need to do? Assignments, you got to click on the assignment, then you got to click an assignment link here to get a list, then you got to click on another assignment to get the whole list. All right, you're clicking your students to death, and then they don't see how that assignment fits in with everything else, because they just see that one single assignment. All right, when do I need to do it? Can you tell? All right, there's a calendar here, it might have a red block for you, but you click on the red block, you get a list of things, you're going to click on those to see what they are, and you still don't know how it all fits together. How can I do it? All right, there's no information about that there, and where can I get help? Okay, for the, you know, that's where the students are at this point. All right, you want to make it smooth sailing. To do that, you need to change how the website is laid out and how you think about the website. You've put a lot of time into preparing the materials. What you need to do now is put some time into presenting it to the students in an organized fashion. Here's just a sample website, and I'm not going to get into the technical aspects because I've only got 4 minutes left. Okay, so what do I need to do? Right here on the front page, you don't have to click, they get a good look at it. Up at the top, I got my readings, my passive learning. First thing I need to go at is that passive learning. Then I have some video lectures I need to watch. After that, I have some group learning. I got my discussions that are based on those first 2 items. Following those first 2 items, I have homework assignments. And you know what? These discussions are graded. So are my homework assignments. They're graded. So I need to keep that in mind. Now, if the student starts to fall behind or they want to refer to previous weeks, I have a link here that says, okay, previous weeks are in the modules. You can also use the lessons tool to do this. Lessons is really good for this. Sometimes I'll put this for the previous week down below. One thing you want to remember is you want to always have the most current, recent stuff at the top. If a student's working on a laptop, right, you don't want them to always have to scroll down to the bottom to see what the current activities are. You want the current activities right there up at the top. All right, when do I need to do it? Well, I run my courses usually on a Sunday to Sunday week, especially when they're online. So all the materials due on Sunday. Wednesday, they got to make their first post to a discussion and possibly submit a homework assignment. The next Sunday, they have 1 or 2 homework assignments or projects due, and 2 more discussion posts. Boom, that's it. Every week, that's what they got to do. Right? There's no question about it. Now, if there are going to be changes to it, well, some other instructors use other assignment weeks, but that's just the way I like to do it. You've got what they got to do. They got all week for this. They got the form. They have the syllabus down here that confirms it. And then if there are changes, I highlight the changes here on this page, and also I throw it into the announcements so they can see the announcements. Okay, how can I do it? We've got it right there, the information there. And then my tools, I try to organize my tools either by importance or matching this list. So I might have a readings link where it has all the resources for readings on a page, a video link where it has all the videos on the page so they can follow that down. Then I'd have the discussion forums and homework assignments. That's matching the activities list. And others by importance. Graded activities first, resources second. And then, where can I get help? Right up here at the top, I have a link to the discussion forum where you can get help. Also put the instructor and TA information on the website. Last slide, I'm going to make it. Okay, dynamic sites, the front page should show current activities such as the announcements, assistance, and then course timelines. You want to have it most recent stuff at the top, older stuff at the bottom so they don't have to always scroll. And then organize your resources, don't throw them all on one page, that's it. 15:08, 8 seconds, and it was because of our conversation.